Was it made 30 years too late, or is it perfect for its time? Island Claws. An overly friendly, unscary, PG-rated killer crab film. The plot: a small Floridian town that has a laboratory studying crustacean life also happens to have a nuclear power plant that has spun a leaky, and the crabs slowly start to get larger and larger, and now it is up to the community to stop this infestation. With a 50s B-movie feel and grade B level effects, this movie is timely confused. Its characters are all super nice, even the grouchy ones. Which isn't surprising, seeing as how two of the writers for this movie's screenplay worked on the Flipper TV show. Oh, and for those who don't know what Flipper is, he's a dolphin. A very friendly dolphin. Ah! Directed by Hernan Hernandez, this film is shot in a passable way. Some of the night shots are hard to make out, and they place the camera on top of stuff, and when people walked by it, it'd shake. Still, Hernandez does a decent job even with all the mistakes. He hasn't directed anything before or after this. In fact, this was his only project, which is pretty ambitious from the studio's standpoint, because they gave this guy $3,500,000 to work with, which is quite the expensive creature feature for back then. The film does look nice though, with its lush setting, beautiful scenery, and decent set pieces. I love that they were able to make an aquarium a part of this movie. Whether it was rented out or dressed to match what a research lab would look like, I was still impressed. It helps that Code Red's Blu-ray looks nice, but it was kind of a rushed product. The special feature on this release is a new interview with Rico Browning, who co-wrote the film with his brother-in-law Jack Coden, rest in peace. Browning doesn't talk a ton about the film, but that's because he had never seen it. So he goes on about how Flipper was a hit and Salty, some seal movie, was a mess. It's more of a reflection of his career and not about the feature. Certainly not worth over $20, which is what I had to pay for this. But I am still glad to have it in my collection. The Hernandez brothers, Hernan and Colby, came up with the story. It does play out like a good mystery, and the reveal at the end was kind of cool. It was just a little underwhelming. Ted Swanson, a decently credible producer, was production manager / producer for this movie, and it's maybe why it has such a decent budget. With films like Rocky and Harry and the Hendersons under his belt, it was a good chance for a good budget. The gore, the effects. There's a scene where a man is crushed in the claws of the crab, and blood comes out of his mouth. But other than that, the film is goreless. Glenn Robinson, who worked on King Kong 1976 as the constructor of the full-scale beast, did the effects here. And much like that mechanical version of King Kong, the crab is a bit stiff and was reportedly not working all too well. The musical score! The main theme reminded me a lot of the intro to the 1976 film Grizzly. It's uplifting, undermining, and unfitting for a film about killer crabs. There are some suspense themes, but nothing that's really stuck out. It's an interesting film. The characters are overly nice. There isn't much gore or effects. The main huge crab only attacks on screen in the last 15 minutes. Also, he just stands in one spot flailing his pincers about. The lounge-esque music is memorable, but doesn't work for the film. I think it was a wasted opportunity that it turned out just okay. Maybe if it was rated R and had more kills, effects, and a better musical score, then it'd probably be more well-known. As for the 50s feel, it wasn't the first to try and recapture that time period, and it certainly won't be the last. Here it is a bit bland, but it could have been worse. Overall, I give Island Claws a 2 out of 5. I also mentioned this in my review for the novel Night of the Crabs. Crabs. This movie was originally supposed to be an adaptation of the book. However, they kind of made it behind author Guyan Smith's back, and disregarded pretty much anything and everything from that book, besides it having to do with killer crabs. I'm Brian Gatto, host of Horror Show Entertainment. Make sure to like my Facebook page in the description below and leave comments and subscribe.